Ladies and gentlemen, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of inspiration and realness. Also, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of positivity, personality, and fun. This is Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, and now the perpetrator of these shenanigans, Big Beefy E himself from his Big Beefy Man Cave in New Bedford, Massachusetts, Mr. Shenanigans himself, and the two-time Chilling 3000 2022 End of the Year Awards winner, Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. This is episode 599. We're one episode away from 600, the big 600. And I'm going to talk about what happened last night on Impact Under Siege. That's right, the huge pay-per-view that happened, and I ended up finishing watching it a few minutes, about half an hour, 15 minutes, half an hour ago, and I will give you the rundown of what has happened. There's been now, just to let you know, a little note, there has been a huge wrestling weekend. 4 wrestling premium live pay-per-view events that have occurred. In fact, 2 of them already occurred. Impact Under Siege and Night of Champions. They're complete. On the next episode, that's episode 600, I will talk about Night of Champions, and a lot of interesting things went down there. About 5 hours ago, about 2 hours ago, man. It was insane. Let me tell you, it's something else. So it's going to get crazy. It's Memorial Day weekend. You know, I would say this. I would go far. The wrestling companies have picked a great weekend to get out all their pay-per-view events in like one fell swoop, because tomorrow we got AEW Double or Nothing and NXT's Battleground. Huge deal there. Huge deal there. It's a huge deal. So 4 major wrestling events over one weekend. That's insane. The WWE's dominated with 2 of them, with NXT's Battleground and Night of Champions. A lot has went down as far as these 2 events, Impact Under Siege and Night of Champions is concerned. A lot to talk about, a lot of ground to cover. Let's work on Impact Under Siege first. Nick Aldis and kicked off. Oh, wait a minute! Before we get to that matchup, there are a couple of countdown to Under Siege matches. Digital Media title was on the line. Joe Hendry defending against Dirty Dango. Joe Hendry ended up winning by disqualification because Dirty Dango hit a low blow on Joe Hendry. And then Santino Marella came out and basically chased Dirty Dango to the back. And it seems like Santino Marella, well, he wants some revenge there. Also, the new version of the Death Dolls, that would be Jessica and Courtney Rush, defeated the Coven Knockouts Tag Team Champions in a non-title match by submission. So it looks like the Death Dolls could be jumping themselves back in line for a Knockouts Tag Team title shot. Now we get on to the main card. Nick Aldis and Kenny King going 1-1. Kenny King has Sheldon Jean in his corner. Sheldon Jean probably tried to help Kenny King, but in the end, Nick Aldis with the Kingsland Cloverleaf beat Kenny King. So Nick Aldis, victory. Now, meanwhile, as Nick Aldis was going to the back, he was pointing at what's going on in the crowd. He said, cameraman, you better look over there. It was Masa Slamovich and Killer Kelly beating the you-know-what out of each other all over the arena, all over the crowd, with the chains and everything else. It took officials and security to separate these two in the middle of the ring, because that's where the brawl ended up. And Killer Kelly ended up standing in the ring holding the chain, and she did a sly smile on her face. Now, Gia Miller interviewed Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace basically says, if I'm not the champion, I'm not the best, I'm not the face of Impact Wrestling, then what am I? And if she doesn't defeat, and because she doesn't defeat Gianna Perrazzo, well, Jordan Grace will not get another title shot as long as Gianna Perrazzo is champion. Now, a trios matchup, 6-man tag match, the design, that's Diener, Big Con, and Alan Angels, to go up against the team of Sami Callihan, Rich Swann, and the partner they're choosing. Who is the partner? None other than former Ohio versus Everything running buddy Jake Christ, former X Division champion, has returned to the company to help out Callahan and Swan, and in that matchup, they have defeated the Design. Gia Miller interviews Santino Marella about Dirty Dango, which he was trying to hold himself down because he's trying to be a respectful gentleman, but it looks like Dirty Dango has really got inside Santino's head for sure. Trinity went one-on-one with the quintessential diva, Giselle Shaw, and it was a great matchup until Jay Vidal and Savannah Evans tried to get themselves involved, but Trinity outsmarted them and ended up beating Giselle Shaw with the Starstruck submission hold. Is there. Now, Gia Miller interviewed Subculture. As you know, they're former NXT UK Tag Team Champions. And they said, this is the first time Subculture was on Impact. They said, hey, I've not been here for 7 years, so this is going to be a huge opportunity for us. And then Brian Myers and the Good Hands interrupted them and said, hey, you jump in front of the line, what's going on? And there's a pecking order. And he says, and then he goes, Danny Luna goes, if we win the titles, we'll give you guys a shot. Fine. So, be well on that. The tag team titles on the line, the Ace and Bay connection, the ABC of the Bullet Club defending against Subculture was a heck of a matchup. And in the end, though, with the 1-2 sweet, ABC was victorious over Subculture. I'm a big fan of Subculture. I used to like them in NXT UK. Hopefully when NXT Europe opens up, they'll probably get invited back. Who knows for sure. The X Division title was on the line. Trey Miguel and Chris Sabin was a heck of a matchup until Miguel decided to resort to a nefarious shenanigans, shall we say, when he used a spray on Chris Sabin, and Miguel ended up retaining the title. 6-man scramble match for the number 1 contendership. Cranky Kazarian, Alex Shelley, Eddie Edwards, Moose, Yuya Uemura, and Jonathan Gresham. All 6 of these men went at it. It was a heck of a fight. And in the end, Alex Shelley ended up being the number 1 contender. So, again, for the Impact World title. Gia Miller interviewed Trey Miguel, who's been whining and crying about the disrespect he's been getting. But then Sabin lunges at Miguel in anger. And I don't blame Sabin, man. You're talking about being disrespected, Trey Miguel? I'll tell you what. Quit cheating and you probably will. Now, the Knockouts title on the line. Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace went at it. It was a heck of a matchup. Deonna Purrazzo, though, ended up winning the matchup, and Jordynne Grace left the ring in tears. So, what's next for Jordynne Grace? Who knows for sure. The world title, no disqualification matchup. Steve Maclin defending against PCO, Perfect Creation 1, or Pierre-Carl Ouellet, whatever you want to call him, the French-Canadian Frankenstein. There was, oh man, this matchup was a lot bloody. There was one part where Steve Maclin used the staple gun to staple PCO's mouth shut. And he's hitting PCO with the staple gun. I'm like, oh my gosh. PCO grabs a pair of pliers, yanks the staples out of his lips. I'm going, what in the world? I was like, wow. He literally stapled the man's mouth shut, and then he's opening it up. Oh my gosh. I was like, how can you survive like that? That's what I want to know. I wonder what's going on. Hopefully the poor guy gets cleaned up, man. I'll tell you what. But Maclin did end up winning the matchup. Maclin calls out Scott D'Amore after the match. D'Amore shows up, puts the title around Maclin's waist, and then D'Amore, as a man of his word, said, I'll shake hands with you. He refused to. But then as Steve Maclin was taunting D'Amore, Bully Ray came out for the crowd, attacked him from behind, choking him out with a strap, tells him to get a table. Right? So, Steve Maclin starts smiling. I like the way you think. Puts a table out. They're setting it up, and then Bully Ray's got some lighter fluid. And like, no. And then Matthew Raywall, which out of character there, he says, hey, this is enough. And Raywall, what are you doing? And he gets in Bully Ray's face. Says, hey, you can't be doing this. That's our boss and everything else. And so Bully Ray squirts him with the liquid, with the lighter fluid, and then attacked him. I'm like, so. And then PCO tries to fight him off. That didn't work. I'm like, and then the Motor City Machine Guns tried to stop Bully Ray. That didn't work. And then Bully Ray finally used up the lighter fluid, hits the lighter, lights the table on fire, and they put Scott D'Amore through it. I can imagine what Josh Alexander is thinking right now. He's probably raging. That's for sure. Well, that's it. That's all the time we have for episode 599 of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Under Siege results. That's right. Under Siege 2023 Event Center. Thank you for tuning in. On the next episode will be episode 600, where we're going to discuss Night of Champions. Got my stuff here. So, Night of Champions. So I will see you guys on the next episode. Episode 600 of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977 coming right up. Until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, please take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Lima speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, Door for Bob Saget production, and in association with A Sweet Bowl for Raving Dingleberries Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another great episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Until the next episode, goodbye for now.